Welcome. It's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
The story of Analia and her little warrior, Luz Milagros, born 6 months into gestation. She finds the courage to go to the morgue to say goodbye to her baby girl, born prematurely 6 months into gestation. Everyone told her not to do it and not to forfeit that memory. The little girl understood that she was still alive. Here's this mother's story and how the story of a little warrior ended. The incident took place in Argentina and then spread around the world, leaving thousands of people in shock. The main mother is called Analia, and she's about 30 years old. She was pregnant with her 5th child when at 6 months of gestation, she went to the emergency room of the hospital of Parrando in the city of Chaco. Unfortunately, Analia had the placenta prior total occlusive, and her gynecologist immediately informed her that the medical protocol, in cases like hers, requires a cesarean section. Unfortunately, that day, during the ultrasound, the emergency room doctor could not find any pulse. So he took the woman with immediate urgency to the operating room. They got it all wrong with me from the beginning. They touched me several times, and with one of those touches, I felt that they had broken my waters. The doctor told me that this was not the case and that I had peed. She was my 5th daughter. How could I be wrong? Then I heard one of the doctors say, "Let her out on her own." I was tired and vomiting. I didn't understand. I was confused. I wanted to help my daughter be born, but I couldn't. Eventually, it was born naturally. 2 hours after my daughter was born, a nurse walked into my room and asked me if I wanted to know the reason for my baby's death. I was shocked. No one had told me anything. My daughter had been pronounced dead. She was taken to the morgue and stayed there for the next 10 hours. Around 10 p.m., I reacted and decided to go say goodbye. I would have regretted it my whole life otherwise. I was accompanied by my husband, brother, and sister-in-law. They pulled the drawer out of a refrigeration chamber and put it on the table. No one wanted to see. They asked me not to see her, so as to not keep the memory of that image, but I wanted to say goodbye. My daughter was alive. I looked at his little body. It was purple and cold. I took her hand and discovered her face. My daughter was looking at me and crying. At first, I thought I had a hallucination. I started screaming. I fell to my knees on the floor. I couldn't believe it. My cold-blooded brother, he took my little girl in my arms and kept repeating, "Baby, you're going to live. Calm down that you're going to live." The doctors couldn't find an explanation. They immediately connected her with an artificial respirator. We had already received a death certificate when they came to give us a birth certificate with fake data. My husband and I decided not to accept. After 8 days of intensive care, my little girl had a cardiac arrest. They wanted me to watch while they revived her, because in the meantime, an aunt of mine had contacted a television channel. She wanted everyone to know my case. After a few hours, the hospital was flooded with journalists. The headlines all spoke of the hospital's medical negligence. Luz Milagros, Miracle Light, survived cardiac arrest and was transferred to the Italian hospital Buenos Aires. They told me in this facility that only 10% of my daughter's brain was working and advised me to take off the machinery, but I didn't want to give up. Within everything that's ugly, there's always a miracle. One guy once told me that he planned to end his life, and when he saw how my daughter had struggled to live, he changed his mind. I don't know what happened to him, but that comforted me. So they accepted my request and continued to feed it through a gastric tube. After some time, Luz was discharged and we were able to go home. Unfortunately, it depended on electricity. Only then could it stay alive. I remember during a storm, the power went out and I had to keep it alive with mouth-to-mouth breathing. After a month, my husband left me. I have to say that the community has been very close to me. Many people have sent me tracheotomy tubes and other supplies that are indispensable to me. I've looked for a lot of ways to make money and apply for a job, to be able to go to another country for better treatments, but I haven't received any. The only thing the mayor did was take a picture with me and my daughter. Over time, I started a relationship with one of the doctors who came at home. He was close to me, near Luz, and traveled with me and my 4 children. On one of these trips, we stopped in Rosario to see my sister after I heard that she'd been diagnosed with cancer. Luz collapsed that day because of a generalized infection. She was taken to hospital as a matter of urgency. The doctors immediately told me not to expect anything this time. I thought maybe I should stop forcing her, so I went to her home, took her hand and said, "If you want to be with Mom, I'm here. If you can't take it anymore and want to leave, go." Luz died on June 23, 2013. I dressed her personally and carried her in my arms to the morgue. Then we tried to sue the hospital for moral damage and also for negligence against the provincial state of Chaco. Our lawyer claimed compensation of 300,000 euros. Since then, my life has not been the same. My mother found out that she had throat cancer and lost her vocal cords. My brother had a bad accident and lost his memory. All I have to say today is what Luz came to light for a reason. Within everything that is ugly, there's always a miracle. One guy once told me that he had thought about ending his life, but when he saw how my daughter had struggled to live, he changed his mind. I don't know what happened to him, but that comforted me. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.